You ever settle for a coffee shop you don't like?
Unfortunately, too often.
Same.
Like how often? Like at what point of desperation do you need to be in to stop at a Coffee Bean?
Oh, that's
I'm actually not.
Let me ask you a question. Would you rather have Folgers or Coffee Bean?
Folgers.
I have friends that are diehard Coffee Bean fans. Now, when they confess this, I immediately change my point of view of them.
I was going to say, and you still trust them?
No, the trust is gone. And it changes the dynamic of the relationship.
Of course.
But the fact that it's still in business is insane to me.
I don't remember the last time I saw someone holding a cup from, is it a Coffee Bean tea and leaf?
I guarantee, stop. If we right now left and drove 10 minutes down to the Santa Monica Pier and you walk that Santa Monica Pier, I guarantee there's people from Ohio and Pennsylvania that have an iced coffee bean latte right now. Guarantee you.
Yeah. I mean, who else is going to drink it? But how else are they staying open?
It's like an iced coffee, cookies and cream, pebble ice.
Matcha,
yeah, it's so bad. But, and here's my deal. Like, I don't appreciate when people, they think they're above Starbucks. Like, I kind of take that personal. No one's above Starbucks.
Yeah.
No one.
That's like people in church are like, we got to leave this church because all we hear is the gospel. No. We're never past the gospel. It's the gospel's the essential message.
It's so specific.
You don't need the meat and potatoes. You're still a milk guy. You're a breve latte. Starbucks is an essential part of humanity.
Yes.
Truly. It's a part of life. Truly. I took my boys there this morning. Julie's out of town. Boys, get in the van. Get some bacon Goudas.
I was about to say.
Y'all want a pumpkin loaf? Whatever you want. I'm not ashamed of getting a pike. A tall pike with cream will jack you up.
Yes. It does the job.
It does the job.
I know I will go to Starbucks and get the same 4 out of 10 quality coffee, but it will be the same every single time I go.
Yep, every time.
So my expectation.
Yeah, there you go.
Every
and
time.
by the way, your taste buds know, I was introduced to this in 2001.
And it's the same.
And it's the same taste in 2024. So I'm good.
Yeah, that's
What's
true.
interesting to me about LA coffee, the LA coffee scene, by the way, LA is the best city in the whole world. We know this. On every level, but food dominates in LA. We have the best food. We have the best coffee scene.
So good.
I think the best coffee culture that I have been to is shout out to Melbourne, Australia, and I think New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
Especially Wellington and Auckland. So they dominate coffee. So good. London's good coffee. New York, nah. But LA coffee is great. The problem with LA coffee, though, is that there's always somebody new coming to beat it.
Constantly.
There's this new coffee shop that's like,
that's true.
Maru wasn't around 2 years ago, was it? Or it was, but it wasn't like what it is right now.
No, it's iconic now. It's like a force.
It's a situation.
It's never just staple. The coffee, it's the spot.
It's the spot, like Common Goods. Like that's a situation.
Yeah.
You go there at 10 a.m. today, long line, TMZ's outside. Mm-hmm. It's a whole situation.
But like 5 years ago, it was like Phil's was
but not really.
Like there wasn't the scene there is now. Like now it's just like.
Yeah. Now it's kind of floating into the coffee, not coffee bean, but what would Phil's category be?
No, yeah. Between Starbucks and
but it's like Phil's and Alfred's are the same. It's it's what I believe about. It's like I first heard this about New York. Like a club in New York can only make it for so long because they got to change the name and change the decor because it only lasts for so long. People want the new thing.
Yep.
And I think that about restaurants. I think that about coffee shops. I think sometimes even church. Like if a new shiny church appears.
Yep.
It's like everybody's going there for a season, for a while, and then we're going to try the new shine. You know, like I think that happens in a big city like that. Mm-hmm. What's crazy to me as I sip this Alfred's is there was a day when I first moved here, but first coffee. Was a situation.
Yep.
Lines out the door. Like that one right there on Melrose and La Cienega.
Oh my gosh.
Get out of here.
You'd have to wait so long.
That was Influencer Nation.
Yes.
That's when the rise of the influencer was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Now today when I get at Alfred's, I'm like, it's not that good. It's not that good. It's just not that good.
The branding is still on point.
Can't believe I'm having Alfred's. I'm settling for Alfred's. Like, it's the same coffee.
100%.
What is the psychology behind? I want to know that. We need a leader on that will help us understand the psychology of that. What everybody's doing. Think about that.
Yes.
The only thing that changed, if there was lines out the door, I go, dude, this is the best cup of coffee.
That's so true.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's
the
crazy.
peer pressure.
Yep.
Yes.
The influence of that. It's the same cup 9 years ago. I'm posting. But first coffee, now I'm like,
On
I don't
the
want,
sleeve.
now I'm asking for the leadership lean in tumbler that doesn't exist so I can hide it. You know what I'm saying? This is disgusting. Let's start the show.
Nate, you know who I got to meet in Miami this week?
I don't.
I can't wait to tell you. I got to meet the Overflow team, and they are
Oh my gosh.
epic. Sorry, they're the most fun people in the room.
Yes. Vance, Bethany, Jonah.
Yes.
I saw someone in a Costco wearing an Overflow sweatshirt.
Did you walk up and you're like, you work for Overflow?
Yeah, I was like, hey, do you use Overflow? And it was someone from their team.
Of course.
Overflow in the wild. I think they're
Overflow
taking
in the
over.
wild. Yeah, they are. They're everywhere.
Yes. And they should be in your organization too.
Yeah.
This is what I love about Overflow is they make giving accessible to anyone who wants to give pretty much anything. Stock, crypto, trusts. If you want to give cash, they can help you out with cash. They're not just church oriented. I love that they're working with organizations, nonprofits. We're with the Golden State Warriors and help them in their giving initiatives and fundraisers. So if you're looking to equip your organization to receive gifts or fundraisers, your church to give at a higher capacity, Overflow is the company to partner with. What do they got? The Apple Pay, the taps.
Yep, love those.
I feel like that's just next level. I'm not going to scan a QR code, Maddie.
No.
I'm over QR codes.
Me too.
And so scan this QR code. I'm just kidding, but they have the technology that is going to equip you to. They're on the front edge, on the cutting edge of technology.
Yeah.
And so book a demo with their team. You're not going to regret it. It's overflow.co/LLI to book a demo right away.
Welcome everybody to another. We're in the 160 still, but we're climbing. We're moving. We're committed. We're a nation. We're leaders. We're leaning. Welcome to another episode of Leadership Lean In. I'm the host, like saying that,
I'm the host.
I'm your host. Like
Actually, you got
that
me.
was
like what is
Games
this?
I'm your host, Caesar Flickerman.
Like what is this inside the NBA? Get out of here, man. I am Chad. Welcome to our it's a syndicated radio kidding. It's a YouTube program. We're on Spotify and Apple Music. Maybe one day Pandora. Anyways, thank you for being a part of our community. We are obsessed with the subject of leadership. We just can't stop talking about it. We're just trying to learn. We're studying. We're not leaning out. We're leaning in, and we're just trying to get better. Listen, we're not perfect. There is no perfect leader outside of Jesus. He is the only perfect leader ever. We are not perfect, but by golly, gosh darn it, we're committed to progress. In fact, buy a hat. As promised, progress. We're trying to get better. So today we're hoping that we can, as a community, get better. As always, I'm joined by my co-host. Hit me with a Nick Saban real fast. Hit me with a Nick Saban.
You all may be taking the week off, but I'm not.
But not these co-hosts. They're here not by choice. Okay, so we're jumping in today. I want to talk about great questions to ask yourself. I think so much of leadership is asking the right questions. So we said this a lot on the program or the pod, that the best leaders ask the best questions.
Yeah.
I think always trying, I like being around intelligent people because, I'll ask a question and they can reframe it and go, well, the better question is. That's
you're not even at
that's
the
a
right
good question.
Yeah. Yep.
But the better question, what you should be, I always like to kind of like even ask smart people like, hey, what am I not thinking about that I should be?
Oh, that's great.
What am I not asking that I need to be asking? So I don't know if these are the best questions, but these are good ones that I try to ask myself. And I think, you need times of reflection. You need times of quiet. This morning I got up early, thank God. The boys slept in very, very good today. Kept texting Julia, who's away. They're still sleeping. They're still sleeping. This is the best morning
And
of my
she's
life.
probably like, how did you get
Yeah,
so lucky?
exactly.
Of course
They know
of course.
They know.
Yeah, they know that. Yeah, they're not going to get any sympathy here, so you might as well sleep. So, but I think you need to reflect. You need to, you can't be successful unless you look at the past. Otherwise, history will just keep repeating itself. So you got to learn. You got to grow. So here's a few that I think are really important, and also good practice as a leader. Better to ask questions than just kind of spout out all the answers.
Wow.
I think it's interesting. Here we are 160 something episodes in, and I never feel like I'm an expert on leadership. I really feel like I'm a student.
Yeah.
And so I love to lean in because what I'm saying is I want to figure it out so bad.
Yeah.
I really want to. So please, if you're listening, just know you're not going to come to this pod and I'm going to give you can go to Craig Rochelle's because he does have all the answers. He is the smartest man in the room. And we shout out to Tom Cruise of Christianity, Pastor Craig Rochelle. We love you. You are the gold standard. You are who we want to be like. I want to fly planes. Anyways, I want to have a bicep one day.
Nunchucks.
Yeah. Here's some questions to ask yourself. Number one, how am I feeling?
Wow.
I think this is really important to identify. I heard Tom Brady say that in this era of his life, he's trying to check in with himself more. And I think a lot of times when you're leading, you're just going, grind, go, push, make it happen. Meeting, appointment, to-do list, email, task. And it's like, how am I doing? I think that gives you strength to be in tune with yourself. Otherwise, what happens is there's going to be behaviors in your life and you don't understand what's driving that.
Yeah, wow.
What's the motivation of that? What's the stress of that? What was that reaction from? Why did you say that thing? I think you got to do a good job as a leader of really understanding you. Who am I trying to master? Employees or me?
Right.
Yeah.
Team or me? A organization or me? I'm trying to master this guy.
Yeah, I think that's like a good question for anyone.
Yeah.
So it's like, if that's a question I should ask in my daily life, how much more should I ask it if I'm leading other people?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my thought too, is like, it seems like such a common sense leadership value principle. Hey, let's check in on people.
Yeah.
And we so rarely check in on ourselves.
Yeah.
Does it feel like I'm weak for checking in on myself? Or if I take time on myself, does that mean I'm not taking care of my, why don't we do that? Why isn't that just a normal practice? Part of what we do?
Before the pandemic, I used to, on the 23rd of December every year, I'd go do like a Christmas message for this particular family. And we'd have a meal and we'd go around once I gave the message, and the leaders of the family kind of like, they had this really cool ritual. And they would ask every person around the table, this last year, did you feel supported by us?
Wow.
Did you feel like
That's
we
huge.
valued you?
Wow.
And then they would ask, what's it like being you? So here I am, just like a messenger or a communicator, and I get to eavesdrop in on this conversation. I'll never forget the leader of the family when they asked this person, what's it like to be you? Their reply was, it's lonely.
Jeez.
This is a very, successful family, very well-known family. And the leader saying, it's very lonely to be me. And I could tell this wasn't the first time they concluded this.
Wow.
They're in tune with that. And I think that's just important. Although I am lonely, it doesn't mean I have to stop.
Yeah.
I love this Inside Out 2 era. I love
so
that.
good.
It just brings so much good language. Neither have I. I want to go so bad. My boys with Maddie. Maddie took my boys in Miami. Thank you for taking them.
Oh gosh,
I can't wait to see it. But I just love that there's imagery to emotion that's sometimes overwhelming us, overtaking us. And so when I say check in, and it doesn't mean sit in my feelings, it means identify to make sure I get joy back in the driver's seat.
Yeah, that's good.
Right.
Self-control back in the driver's confidence. How am I feeling? Well, when I really start to understand why I'm feeling this, it's usually because of activity that's taking place. And I'm like, oh, I've got to deal with this, address this, follow up with this, handle this so that I can move forward.
Yeah.
Otherwise, 3 months from now, I'm going to go, man, I didn't handle that very well.
Yeah.
And I've got some residue of that. You know, I feel like what hurts so many leaders is unresolved issues of pain.
Yeah. Wow.
Unresolved issues of pain. This is a pain point. If you don't, this is like, you know, if you sprain your ankle, you go up for, you know, you go to work out. If you didn't put in that time to rest and rehab,
you're going to feel it.
You're going to feel it. And you're not going to have that bounce, that confidence. I so want to be bouncy. I so want to be confident. I so want to be vibrant. I so want to have is it buoyant?
Yeah, buoyancy.
Beautiful word. I want to be buoyant with my attitude. If I don't, I will not. So that's a big question. Number 2, what am I willing to give up to be great? I love this question. The question is not, do you want to be great?
Yeah.
The question is, what are you willing to give up to be great?
Yep.
And so I always have a thing or two that I'm like, if I want to be great, I have to die here. I have to give this up. I have to surrender this. I have to yield to it. It's not the same thing always. It's something different. It's going like, just give it up, let it go, be mature, die to yourself, whatever it is. But I just think it's good for you right now. Leader, hear me. Ask yourself this question today. What are you today willing to give up to be great? Seeds of greatness happen to me in vision, dream, and model. So I have a vision, a picture of it. Maybe I dreamt something, but then also I saw greatness. I got an image of it because I stood in it. I experienced it. I witnessed it. And if you can have that, that's my whole belief. If you can see it, you can achieve it.
Yep.
But I cannot achieve what I do not see. So when I see it, then I go, okay, that's what the standard is. There's a gap between that and where I am.
Right.
What am I willing to give up to get there? You've got to give stuff up. This is a big deal to me.
Yeah, I think that question is the real answer to, do you want to be great? Because, I mean, I think all of us, the ideal is like, yeah, of course I want to be great.
Yeah.
But that's not true if you're not willing to give up what it takes to be great.
Yeah.
If you don't give it up, then really you don't want to be great. You just want to you want to stay where you are. You want to be okay. You want to sustain.
Yep. And there's a psychology behind that. What is that imposter syndrome, that inferiority complex? What is that deal of going like, I don't think I deserve to be great. I'm not from a family that's great. I don't see myself that way. You watch the way people interact socially, it tells you everything about what they believe about themselves.
Yeah. And identifying what you have to give up is way easier than actually giving it up. So who's in your corner that's keeping you accountable?
There you go.
Who are you sharing with? Hey, I need to let this go. I need to lose this habit. Losing a habit is hard.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Who's in your corner saying, no, you got this. You can do this.
Yeah.
I'm hand in hand with you, calling you to a greater, higher space.
In this last week, it's kind of funny coincidence. I was with a friend out of town who is just a whale of a businessman. And when I say whale, monster. This guy's what he's accomplished is insane. And when I saw him, he's older. When I saw him, I go, what? You look, how much weight have you lost? And he tells me the number. I go, oh my, you look incredible. He goes, I didn't tell you, did I? And I go, what happened? He got sick in the hospital beginning of June.
Oh, wow.
And he got so sick, the doctor said, you should give up hard alcohol. So he hasn't had a drink now in a month.
Wow.
Whoa.
And so when I see him, I go, your face, your body, what? I go, what is it? He goes, I haven't drank. So then fast forward the tape, on Saturday after the Brotherhood barbecue, I go play pickleball with a friend. And when I get to this person's house to play pickleball, I walk in, I go, oh my gosh, you look amazing. I go, what is this?
You're glowing.
He goes, haven't had a drink of alcohol in 3 weeks. Now, I know both of these guys pretty good. And they love to have a night. They love to have a time. And they're great humans, incredible leaders, have accomplished a lot, both of them. Isn't it amazing? Both of them, the common denominators. I gave up something and it's completely changed my physique, my glow, my face. as the girls would say, snatched, but they got to give it up.
Yeah.
The question is how long? The question is, what are you willing? If you want to look great, you want to be great, you have to give something up.
Yeah, doesn't it feel like today's culture, the idea is you have to add something, you got to add this program, add this idea, add this thing in order to achieve. But really I found in leadership, it's all about editing. You use that word buoyancy.
Yeah.
Like you can't float if you're just adding more. You just weigh down more and more.
No.
But just to edit your life. I heard on a podcast, they said the number one difference between great leaders and the top tier. So we're talking great leaders, like iconic, and then the tier above that is they say no 99% of the time. No. Where everyone else says yes.
Yep, that's exactly right.
They just edit things away.
I believe it. Number 3, what's the root of my frustration? What is the root? I'm just telling you, if you're a leader, you're frustrated. You woke up frustrated. You woke up so I always laugh. It's like somebody's like, I've been really frustrated. I'm like, oh, you're frustrated. Well, tell me more. It's like, yeah, you're leading. There's a gap between where you are and where you want to be.
Yeah.
That's frustration. And I always think, what's the root of it? Get to the bottom of it. Find out what that is, because it's the issue is rarely the issue. It is a symptom of the issue.
Yeah.
And if you can trace all of your behavior, angst, anger, well, all that stuff, all those emotions from inside out too. If you could just identify, this is what it is. Most people are driven by their greatest fear. So what's your greatest fear?
Wow.
What's that fear that is making you drive so hard, get up in the morning early? Like, are you motivated by winning, or are you motivated by, I don't want to lose? Get to the root of the issue. And I think this to me becomes exciting, because I go like, all right, I could do that. I could find out. I could really peel back some layers. But I can't do that unless I'm vulnerable and I'm honest. I'm honest with myself. I'm honest with where I'm at. That's why I think checking in with yourself is a big deal. But I think here's a great question to ask yourself. What is the root of your frustration? It cannot be coffee bean. It cannot be Alfred's.
I don't know.
It's something bigger than that.
Yeah.
And just discovering what that is. Number 4, who do I need to forgive?
Yeah, that's a big one.
I love when Pastor Judah came. Shout out to Pastor Judah. I love you so much. He made this statement. There's some people I forgive one time, and there's some people I have to forgive every day.
That's so good.
And I was like, I've never heard anybody say that. There's some people that all I have to do is go like, Lord, just forgive them.
Yeah.
And then some people's like, here I am forgiving them again today.
Every day.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
And the thing about the heart is that it is above all things wicked. It is above all, it will deceive you. And so I can't follow my heart or listen to my heart.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or do what's in my heart. What? No, I got to take my heart and get all the bitterness, resentment, anger, frustration, all that stuff is a heart issue. So here's a great question. Ask yourself, who do I need to forgive? Because if you're leading, guarantees somebody did one of two things. Someone abandoned you, left you high and dry, left you with the bill, left you with the weight of the world on your shoulders, left you while you were building with them, left you in the midnight hour. Somebody, you read throughout the Bible, Paul talks about Demas, left him in the middle, for the world.
Yeah.
Paul, Alexander the Coppersmith, he did me much harm, So if you're leading, somebody's doing you wrong.
Yep.
And Paul's also the one that gives us the language, the more I love, the less I am loved.
Yep.
So that's just a part of leading. How is it the more I love everybody, the less I'm loved? Whoa, thanks for letting me be a leader, God.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there, and then abuse, which I want to keep in context what abuse is. Let's just say abuse is maybe someone was critical of you or sharp with you, or like Moses, they all turned their back on him and they're like, we want a new leader. That's an abusive relationship. You're my leader. I don't want you to be my leader. Thanks, Mo.
Right.
Thanks for all the miracles, Mo. We don't like you that much. I always think if Moses wasn't good enough for the congregation, how could I be good enough for the congregation?
Yeah, well, that's really good.
Moses brought down 10 commandments and fire by night and manna and shoes and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
So if Mo wasn't good enough, leader, you are not going to be good enough.
Yeah, wow.
Because you are not their problem, by the way.
So good.
That's so good.
You are not their problem.
Yeah.
Most people are frustrated with themselves and haven't checked in on themselves. And all that energy has to go somewhere. So it's going to land on you.
Yep.
It's a reflection of their own.
Yep.
That's why the nicest, most kindest, gentle people to me are secure within themselves. They love themselves. Their heart is good so they can reflect good. Those that are critical and angry and upset, they just don't like themselves.
Yeah.
So who do you need to forgive? I hate it. Forgiving and stuff.
How often do you have to ask yourself, do I have to forgive myself?
Man, that's big.
Wow.
And by the way, that right there, what you just said, is probably the hardest thing for most people to do. It's like, I just read this article this morning about Camp Kennecott. I don't know if you saw this. Camp Kennecott, I think 500,000 children have come through there. And there's all these abuse and allegations about what's happened. And, it's just so sad. And you think about the level of forgiveness that those innocent victims would have to give to somebody that violated them. I just read the article. I was so just devastated. And then you think about the predator. And if they ever got to the part where they said, Lord, I need your forgiveness, could you receive it? And I think that is the hardest. It's one thing for me to forgive people that have hurt me. It's a whole nother level for me to forgive myself of my failures. Forgiveness is the name of the game. Forgiveness is the currency. And I think that's why it's in the prayer that we get as our model example. Forgive me. Simultaneously, I am going to forgive. Leader, this is a great question. Today, who? And every time I ask this question, a name or two appears.
I was about to say, as soon as you say it, you get a thought.
You go, Bob.
Of course.
There you go. Tim Rick, Sally Sue, DJ Madi. DJ's over here. Last one, number 5. Who's with me? Who's with me? I think this is an important question because you need to be asking yourself, okay, what I found in life, in leading, is that who was with me last season isn't always with me this season.
Yeah.
And the problem for most leaders is they're stuck in an old iteration of their leadership or the old iteration of what they were doing, and they haven't made the jump into the new iteration. And so I call it, like trying to work with old blood. I love this desire. In order for me to really work with somebody, there has to be desire.
Yep.
They want it.
Yep.
They're hungry. They want to go. They want to build. They want to. That desire is there. Work with them.
Yep.
If desire is gone, it's very hard to work with people that don't desire sacrifice. They don't desire extra effort. They don't desire the extra mile. They don't desire what once led them to partner with you. So I think it's always a good question to go like, who's with me?
It's good.
And I don't ask this question so I know who serves me. I ask this question so I know who to serve, who to invest into, who to pour into, who to give extra time and attention to.
Yeah, that's great.
Who to talk to, who to laugh with, who to train, who to pull aside and say, hey, I know you did it this way, but just for the future, do it that way. I can't do that with people that don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
I got to do that. So it's like, who's with me? It's the whole thought. If I got something big in my heart, I've got something good in my hand. And the greatest resource you have today, leader, is not money, it's people. People are the greatest resource. And so and thank God that God has put great people around you.
That's right.
You've got greatness all around you. Identify them. Not and this to me, it's not self-serving. Who's with me? I don't ask it like mafia. Who's with me? Right. This is not a game.
Yeah.
Who's with me? Who's with me to me is Mark chapter 3. And the disciples, they were with him. They weren't with him forever. They were with him for 3 years, and then he sent. And so who's with you?
Wow.
Just a heads up. Who's with you? Get ready. Eventually, everybody leaves you. And they don't necessarily leave you, but they leave that season of being in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Being that tight-knit, close, really kind of like intense leadership development. Who's with me? I know that I can identify it. And in 3 years, it will be a different group.
Yeah.
Because that's who in that season I'm developing and I'm raising and I'm helping. And then what's the goal? Just like our children, to shoot them out like arrows into the world. I'm raising you up, not so that you can be with me forever, but so that you can lead and you can stand on your own and you can develop now and you can disciple. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So these are just some questions that I think are important to ask yourself in this season of your life. So I got a question for you, Nate.
Hit me.
Scale of 1 through 10. Where does Alfred's rank?
I'll hit it with the 4.
Scale of 1 through 10.
I was gonna say 4, 5, maybe if I'm like desperate.
I thought you were gonna say 3.
I was almost there, but the branding.
The branding is so very, and it, by the way, it only continues to grow.
Yeah.
Say what you want about Alfred's, but they stopped being this popular.
About the organization.
Stop
just
this
the coffee.
this little popular cute spot off Melrose. They're all over the place.
They're all over.
And now it's almost a statement. Oh, they got an Alfred's. So on taste, still pretty high. Branding, pretty high. Appearance and influence, not what they were, but I'll take where they're going. I wish I could lead at that level.
I'll buy in some stock.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
They must have been asking themselves some great questions. We love you. You are our nation. We are a small, little, itty bitty community. But by golly, gosh darn it, we're getting better. We'll see you next time.